The story opens in a desolate and ruined place with a flock of crows flying over and landing there. From inside the dilapidated house, the male protagonist S figure carrying his sister S corpse walks out and stands in front of a group of people facing him. At this moment, one of them looked at him with bloodshot eyes and said, "Wutong, your existence is too troublesome. Someone above is paying a high price for your life. Today you will die here." After hearing this, the male protagonist said nothing and lowered himself to place his sister S body down, then stood up with a somber face and replied, "You killed my sister. I want you to repay blood with blood. Lol Wutong, you were quite bold. Take a good look at your situation now." As soon as that person finished speaking, Tinha's fist instantly appeared right in front of his face. The speed of the blow was as fast as a gust of wind, making it impossible for him to defend, taking a direct hit like a thunderbolt. All three remaining men witnessed this scene and were all astonished, mouths agape and eyes wide open. The boastful one who took a punch was lying motionless on the side, his teeth and lips mixed together. At this moment, all three remaining men also felt Tinha's threat and rushed forward, accompanied by his provocative voice, "Come on and all of you go die." As soon as he finished speaking, Tinha roared and unleashed an extremely powerful surge of true energy, blowing away the three men who were charging at him. The power of the true energy surge did not stop there, but grew stronger, destroying the entire place, creating a massive explosion with earth and rocks flying up and shaking the entire area. After the explosion subsided from behind the hazy smoke, the three men who had just rushed forward were now lying motionless on the ground. Tinha stood on the side, astonished to find his head dizzy and spinning, unable to stand steady. "It is over this whole time I've been trying to use true energy to break through this time. I've overused it." Saying this, the male protagonist's entire body began to emit a plume of smoke. Was this anaphylaxis about to occur? He was unwilling, his eyes half closed, reaching out his hand forward, looking towards his sister. Unbelievably, Wutong, the youngest martial arts grandmaster in history, would end up like this. I am truly unwilling. After the male protagonist lost his soul, it transformed into a beam of light and began to fly out into space at the speed of light. Following that, the beam of light flew at the speed of light towards Earth, heading straight for it. Then it crashed into a mountain in Bach Zuyen Nation. At this moment, the unconscious male protagonist heard a girl's urgent call and vaguely opened his eyes. Vo Song, answer me, younger brother, Vo Song, sister. Immediately after he opened his eyes wide, sat up abruptly and exclaimed, "Sister." The girl sitting beside him saw her younger brother wake up and was overjoyed, rushing to hug the male protagonist tightly. "Vo Song, you finally awake. Do you know how worried I was? They said you dueled with someone and were beaten to death. We invited many doctors and they all said there was nothing they could do." He was still dazed and confused, thinking to himself, "Who is this? Why are they suddenly hugging me? Vo Song, what duel? Why are my hands so small? And where is this place?" Thinking of this, the image of his sister reappeared in his mind. "That's right, sister." Then he turned to look at the girl in front of him and asked suspiciously, "My sister? Where is my sister?" Seeing her younger brother like this, the girl began to place her hand on the male protagonist and asked back, "What is wrong with you, Vo Song Don T? You recognize your older sister?" He looked closely at the young face of the girl sitting in front of him, thinking to himself, this 17 or 18-year-old girl could be my younger sister. "Vo Song, are you all right? Is your wound hurting again?" The male protagonist ignored the girl's words, holding his head and thinking to himself, "Try to remember at that time I suffered from true energy backlash. I should have died." Thinking of this, he unconsciously turned his head to look in the mirror. Seeing himself in a different form, the male protagonist stood up in shock. "Who is this? Why have I turned into a child?" At the same time, a splitting headache struck him inside his head, causing him to painfully hold his head with both hands. What's going on? This memory is Tan Vo Song, the only son of the Tan family of Dong Lam Tran Han, from the lowest noble family, living with his father and older sister. Studying at the Wudong Dien, due to the conflict of interest between the nobles fighting each other, he was often bullied by a group of noble disciples at Wudong Dien. Tan Vo Song, a piece of mud that can plaster a wall like you dares to live in Wudong Vien. Do you dare to have a duel with Truong Hien? This useless trash definitely doesn't dare. Someone looked at the wretched appearance of that person and said, "I am so amused. LOL. Tan Vo Song, go die. This kid named Truong Hien is really bullying people too much." Could it be that I have transmigrated into the body of this kid named Tan Vo-song? While the male protagonist was thinking, the girl came from behind and said, Vo-song, what's wrong? Don't scare me. I am fine. It's just that the wound hurts a bit. There is also a father. Since I was little, Ivy had no father or mother. My son was beaten. Maybe father will go for revenge, right? After thinking, he hurriedly asked suspiciously that S' right older sister, where S our father went out for a bit. Seeing the girl S' flustered and stammering appearance, Vo-song asked again, where did he go? Vo-song Don T ask about these things. Just focus on recovering the future of our Tan family. Still needs you to shoulder it. You can't have anything happen to you again. Older sister tell me the truth is, father preparing to go to the district capital to find Truong Gia. No, father said he was going out for a bit, and didn't say where he was going. Truong Gia is the family of Truong Hien, a prominent and influential clan of Lajiang district capital. Their strength is formidable, and their background is great. The declining Tan family cannot possibly fight against them. Older sister, no matter what, you mustn't die. Quickly call father back. A moment later, in a small alley, everyone there turned their gaze towards Vo-song. As father discussing animatedly, hey, isn't it that the head of the Tan family? What he doing with that spear? Oh my god. Haven't you heard? The young master of the Tan family had a duel at Wutong Vian and was accidentally beaten to death by the young master of the Truong family. He was the only son of the Tan family that right. He's definitely going for revenge. At this moment, his daughter also chased after him, calling out loudly, Father. Seeing this, he turned back, puzzled Tuni. Why are you here? Didn't I tell you to wait for me at home, father? I finally found him. Younger brother isn't dead. He's alive again. Hearing his daughter's words, he was surprised and couldn't believe his eyes. Vo-song is alive again. As soon as he finished speaking, he ran straight home, leaving his daughter holding the spear and calling after him, Father, wait for me. Back inside the house, Vo-song was sitting admiring his face in the mirror. It seems I really did transmigrate. At this moment, his father came in from outside, looked at him and called his name, Vo-song. Hearing this, Vo-song was startled and turned back to look at Tan Lin's son, Tan Song's father. This feeling, the father-son bond I never experienced in my previous life, is this the feeling of father-son connection, flesh and blood related. After Lien's son stroked his head, he continued, Vo-song, was it that second young master of the Truong family who forced you into a duel with him, tell me, and I will definitely seek justice for you. Tan Vo-song's bullying was all in my memories, but I don't intend to pursue this matter anymore. Thinking this, he hurriedly replied, Father, let bygones be bygones. Let us look to the future. After speaking, Vo-song's eyes were firm, as he thought to himself, the Truong family, a prominent clan, is nothing. The former Tan Vo-song feared them like tigers. But since I, Vo-tin Ha, have transmigrated here, I will naturally not get entangled with these small characters anymore. What I need to focus on is this entire Lajiang district, even this entire Bach Viet nation. Lien's son stood opposite, looking at Vo-song, thinking to himself, with Vo-song's previous introverted and extreme personality. Being beaten like this by Truong Hien, he would naturally want to seek revenge. Why is he so calm this time? Vo-song stood on the side, looking at his hands, and continued. Father, looking to the future doesn't mean ignoring those grudges, but focusing solely on revenge will not help us escape this predicament. Vo-song, you rewrite. We must look to the future from now on. Don't go to Wutong Vian anymore. Starting tomorrow, you will fully focus on cultivating our ancestral martial arts. I don't believe that our Tan family's ancestral martial arts cannot nurture a true martial realm expert. Our Tan family's ancestors were once a prominent clan, although we have declined. Now we are not someone anyone can bully. From outside, his older sister also came in and added that right, Vo-song. If you go back to Wutong Vian, sooner or later you will be bullied by them. It is better to just stay in Dong Lam. Tran father. Older sister. This matter is not urgent. The family affection of father and sister is the regret of my previous life that I could never make up for. Now that I've been reborn, I will definitely cherish it. After thinking this, Vo-song clenched his palms and continued, a dragon can stir up rivers and seas wherever it goes. A fierce tiger can become the lord of the mountains, anywhere. I will definitely not let our Tan family be humiliated again. After saying this, he suddenly paused, breaking out in a cold sweat, thinking to himself, this is bad. It seems I am about to be exposed. I can't avoid making my family worried after all. I am too different from the real Tan Wutong. Thinking this, Wutong raised his hand to cover his mouth and yawned. Father, older sister, I am a little tired, so I'll rest. We can talk about other things after my wounds heal. That night, Wutong lay in his room, his hands behind his head, looking up at the ceiling, thinking what irreconcilable feud do the Truong family and the Tan family have that they must want to exterminate the Tan family. Perhaps the crux of the matter is still about benefits originating from the family ranking competition 4 years from now. If Tan Wutong dies, the Tan family will lose its heir and become extinct. Then the Tan family will lose its qualification for the family ranking competition 4 years later, thereby losing its noble status. Losing the noble status means all the assets the Tan family has will change hands accordingly, causing severe economic losses, and even more frightening is the loss of social status. In this world, there is a difficult-to-cross barrier between nobles and commoners. This duel must have been a conspiracy. The next morning, Tuni rushed breathlessly towards the male protagonist from afar. Wutong father told you to go to the main hall academy. Head Kim Bat Ditch of Wodongdian has arrived. Kim Bat Ditch, what is he doing here? Since this happened within the academy, perhaps the academy head has come to inquire. Hearing this, Wutong thought in surprise, inquire lol. This old fox, wouldn't it do that? When Tan Wutong dueled with Truong, Hien Kim Bat Ditch was clearly also present. Yet he remained silent, standing aside to watch the drama unfold, condoning Truong Hien's arrogant display. Seeing Lien's son anxiously rush over, he announced, Clan leader Tan, your esteemed son dueled with someone at the academy and was accidentally killed by the opponent. Please restrain your grief. Let us go, older sister. Let us go meet this guest from the district capital. After speaking, the male protagonist, with a resolute and upright expression, put his hands in his pockets and walked forward. I voting Hanoi Tan Wutong, starting from today, will strive for the prosperity of the Tan family. Seeing him enter, the cunning fox Bat Ditch asked, Wutong, has your injury healed? Wutong didn't bother to reply, but remained silent, observing the 3 people in front of him for a long while. The first was Cao Than, a persuader with a shiny bald head. The second was Hua Tu Hai from a prominent family. And the last was the loyal Kim Bat Ditch, the academy head, who looked at him and asked again, Wutong, is your injury completely all right? Hearing this, Wutong's face darkened as he glanced at the old man, thinking to himself, this Kim Bat Ditch dares to pretend to be worried and come here? When Tan Wutong was beaten, he didn't pay any attention. Now he's putting on a fake show of concern. I also want to see what this man surnamed Kim intends to do here today. After thinking, he also began to act along. Thank you for your concern. Great academy head. Kim, my injury is no longer a concern. Are many people very disappointed? Hearing the male protagonist say this, the old man thought in surprise. Why has this kid become a different person? Could it be that he thinks this is his home and dares to be so arrogant? While the old man was thinking, Lien's son, sitting on the side, asked suspiciously, I wonder what guidance the 3 of you have for us today. Cao Than beside him smiled and clasped his hands in reply. Clan leader Tan, I have been invited here this time actually to offer a few words of advice. The family ranking competition in 4 years will probably be the Tan Clan SE. The discussion about this ranking competition is presided over by the true Martial Holy Land. All those in charge are personally appointed by His Majesty the Emperor. How can anyone with extensive connections reach the true Martial Holy Land? Lien's son, my old friend, do you think His Majesty the Emperor would be so bored as to care about the ranking competition of a small district? Moreover, the principle in this world is the survival of the fittest, who cares what means you used. Hearing this, an angry expression clearly showed on Lien's son's face as he said loudly, It seems you people are trying to push my Tan family into a dead end. It is still the same saying. If you voluntarily yield your position, I guarantee your Tan family will be safe. Of course, whether your Tan family can hold out for 4 years is still unknown. It is true that my Tan family's power has declined, but it hasn't reached the point where anyone can trample on us. If you want it, come and take it. Even if it is by force, I will accept it. Tu Hai, sitting on the side, slammed his teacup down, stroked his beard, and said, It seems clan leader Tan would rather be shattered jade than a whole tile, huh? Our Tan family's ancestors taught us to fight with all our might against those who want to destroy our Tan family. We don't care whether we become shattered jade or broken tiles. Saying this, Lien's son stood up and waved his hand, ordering Tuni, "See the guests out to the surprise of everyone there." "Very well, Tan Lien. Son, it seems you don't want to drink the offered wine, but instead want to drink the penalty wine. When the young and old of your Tan family are reduced to begging in the streets, don't blame me for adding insult to injury." Wutong, standing in front of him, smiled and interjected, "Listening to your tone at Isso as if you didn't come here today to take advantage of others' misfortune. Cao Than, you lowly fellow, you swagger in here today to my Tan family spouting nonsense. It shows you a dog relying on its master. Your father and son are ignorant of what's good for you. Sooner or later you'll regret it. If clan leader Tan is so stubborn, then I want to say any more. Let us go." He man named Bat Ditch, standing beside him, looked at the male protagonist and said, with a smug smile, "Tan Wutong, since your injury is all right, you should also return to Wutong Vien. No noble disciple from Bach Viet Nation doesn't enter Wutong Vien for intensive training." "Of course I still have to go back to Wutong Vien, sorry for troubling you." "Great academy head. That's good. No matter how the situation changes, your studies at this stage must be your priority." Wutong then watched the backs of the three men as they left and continued, "Take your time, gentlemen. I wanted to see you off academy. Head, please be careful on your way." After the three men had left, Lien San turned to look at the male protagonist. Puzzled, "Wutong, are you planning to go back to Wutong Dien? Why would you? Kim Bat Deech is a notorious hypocrite in Lajiang district. His invitation for you to return to Wutong Dien is definitely not out of good intentions. These three came here today with ill intentions. You should especially go back to Wutong Vien. This is a matter of attitude. Remember, that duel of yours was originally a conspiracy, and this conspiracy is definitely not aimed at you alone, but at our Tan family Han clan status. Wutong, if you can analyze this reasoning, why do you still intend to return to Wutong Vien? That Cao Than dared to come to our Tan family to show off his power, isn't it? Because he thinks our Tan family is about to fall and is wary and fearful. That is right. If it were over 100 years ago when the Tan family was prosperous and still a prominent clan, how many people in Lajiang district would dare to speak so arrogantly in the Tan family? In the past few days, I've thought a lot the Tan family's prosperity lies entirely in our hands. If I can even withstand such a small storm, how will I dare to shoulder the entire family in the future? Good son, you have great ambition, father. Agrees with you, but you must also agree with me that going back to Wutong Vien, you must endure hardship and not fall into other people's schemes. Again, father, please rest assured, after this great tribulation, I know what I should and shouldn't do. Wutong, just do what you think is right. I support you. Thank you, father." After deciding to return to Wutong Dien, Tan Wutong did not rush back to Lajiang district capital, but continued to cultivate at home for a month. The martial arts skills of his previous life followed the path of Duong Quang, but in this life, he chose the Great Vajra Fist as his main attacking skill. In this world, there is a cultivation rule that is mostly different from his previous life. In his previous life, the qualifications for cultivating internal and external strength were not so strictly limited. In this place, only after external strength has been cultivated to its limit and the body's functions have reached a certain height, can internal force be generated by cultivating from the outside in entering the stage of internal force cultivation. The external strength stage in this world is called the martial force realm, and after generating internal force and entering the realm of internal force cultivation, it is called the true martial realm. In my previous life, I was a peak expert who cultivated both internal and external strength invincible under heaven. Judging by the levels my cultivation in my previous life might be equivalent to a peak 9th level true martial realm expert in this life. Switching scenes to a month later, Wutong was still sitting cross-legged on a tree branch cultivating as usual. At this moment, he had broken through and reached the 7th level of the martial force realm. Seeing this, Wutong stopped cultivating and looked at his arm. If this continues, I can break through the martial force realm and enter the true martial realm in another 3 months, then before the family ranking competition. 4 years later, I should be able to recover 80% of my peak strength from my previous life. Saying this, Wutong stepped forward and swung his hand, punching a nearby tree trunk, causing it to snap in half there. still sometime needed to reach the peak 9th level of the martial force realm, but it's more than enough to deal with the Wutong Dian assessment. Wutong looked at the tree he had just broken and encouraged himself, as long as the family remains, all hope remains. That afternoon, when the male protagonist returned, he saw his older sister sitting alone on a stone bench. He then approached her and asked suspiciously, "Older sister, what's wrong?" Hearing this, Tuni stood up flusteredly and replied, "I am fine. What did you practice today?" Hearing this, Wutong stared intently at her, thinking to himself, "It is all written on your face, and you still say you're fine, older sister. Tell me what exactly is going on. If you still consider me your younger brother, then don't hide anything from me." Seeing that she couldn't hide it anymore, Tuni sat down on the chair and sobbed as she recounted everything last night. A bin from the Dian Trang came to the Tan family manor and reported some situations of the Dian Trang. They talked in the room for over half an hour this morning. His body was moved to the front gate of the manor. How could this be? Saying this, Tuni's face was terrified, her eyes filled with tears. "It's that demon. That demon has tormented me for 6 years. Hearing her say this made Wutong's expression even more confused. Demon? What demon? That demon said, when I was 12 years old, that he had fallen in love with me, saying that he would come to take me away in 10 years, and threatened father not to let me marry anyone else. Otherwise, in 10 years, he would return to Donglam Tran and destroy our Tan family. Father was afraid that your temper was impulsive and always told me not to let you know about this. What is that person's background? I don't know, in these 6 years, any boy who even slightly interacted with me didn't he have a good ending? Am I a jinx?" Hearing this, Wutong's expression became worried, and he hurriedly said 10 years, saying that there are still 4 years left. "Younger brother, don't worry, I am not afraid, as long as you can grasp the hope of the family. Even if I have to jump into boiling oil or raging fire, I'll be willing." Hearing this, Wutong's expression was resolute as he affirmed, "Older sister, I want to let you wait another 4 years. In my previous life, I couldn't protect my older sister, but in this life, I will definitely protect both of you. Well, definitely." The next morning, Wutong stood in front of the gates of Wutong Dian. With a joyful expression, he looked up at the plaque, "I've arrived." As he began to enter, the children inside looked at the male protagonist and discussed animatedly. "Isn't he that Tan Wutong? Didn't they say he was beaten to death? How did he come back to life? He barely escaped with his life. Why didn't he hide at home and instead dared to come back here? He wasn't beaten to death, but he must have been beaten stupid." Lol. Nearby, 2 young boys, Huadin, of a prominent family, and Truong Hien, of a prestigious clan, looked at him and whispered to each other, "Young Master Hua, this Tan Wutong still dares to swagger back here. He really doesn't put us in his eyes." He put his hands in his pockets, a confident look on his face as he looked at the people around him. Indeed, a bunch of kids. After walking a bit further, he was surprised by the voice of the man Bat Dish appearing in front of him. "Tan Wutong, you are back." Wutong looked at the old man with a wary gaze, thinking to himself, "This Kim Bat Dish won't leave me alone. My return to Wutong Dian, this time will definitely involve many conspiracies." The old man then continued to approach Wutong and asked, "Has the head injury completely healed?" "Great Academy. Head, if you have anything to say, please say it quickly." Hearing the male protagonist say this, he was a little surprised, forcing a smile as he thought to himself, "This little brat." Then he immediately replied, "Well, the incident you caused last time had a very bad influence. I hope from now on you will be more obedient. This old fox doesn't distinguish right from wrong, yet he dares to call himself Kim Bat Dish, a man with a loyal heart." Seeing him remain silent, the man Bat Dish smiled smugly. "What's wrong? Do you think what this academy head said is wrong?" "Yes, you are very right, facing the provocations of prestigious clans. I should endure humiliation. You want the Han clan status of my Tan family, and I should offer it with both hands, as a Han clan. We should have this kind of awareness." Saying this, Wutong looked up at the old man. "Isn't that right, great academy head?" Hearing the male protagonist say this, the man Bat Dish was surprised and smiled to himself. When did this little brat become so sharp-tongued? Tan Wutong, I know your choice to stay at Wutong Dian is definitely to play some tricks. I warn you, if you cause any more trouble, I will definitely deal with you the old way. I returned to Wutong Dian because you invited me, didn't it? I wonder how the great academy head plans to deal with me. The old man smiled, raised the glasses on his face. I'll chase you out, drag you out the door. Hearing this, Wutong turned and left Great Academy. Head, you are truly too kind. I have finally learned, I have remembered all your words. Farewell. After speaking, he thought to himself, chase me out, haha. This small Wutong Dien really thinks it's fun to mess with me here. After walking a bit further, Wutong stood in front of a room and said, this is Tan Wutong's dormitory. As he spoke, he approached and opened the door, stepping inside the room of a noble disciple is indeed tidy. While Wutong was looking around the room, a young boy ran in from outside and exclaimed, Wutong, why are you back hearing this? He turned his head, thinking to himself, I remember this person. His name is Huadin, a fellow townsman of Tan Wutong. Tu Ngon looked at the male protagonist and continued, why did you still come back to Wutong Dien Don? You know that Truong Hien and his gang deliberately framed you. I know. You know, and you still came back. Truong Hien will definitely cause you more trouble. You have to be careful. Tell me, aren't you afraid they'll come looking for trouble with you for saying these things? We grew up together in Dong Lam Tran. I don't have the ability to help you, but I don't want to see others bully you. Wutong sat down on the bed, a pensive look on his face, thinking to himself, this time coming back is definitely fraught with danger. It is better not to implicate innocent people. Toon gone in the future, Don to come here. If there's nothing important, I'll handle my own affairs. Toon gone was then chased out, scratching his head blankly. What's wrong with Wutong? Switching scenes to that night on the rooftop. Wutong was sitting cross-legged up here, his eyes closed in cultivation. Suddenly at this moment Wutong heard a sound and was surprised, opening his eyes wide. Looking down, he saw two dark figures stealthily opening his room door, giggling, he, as expected. This kid isn't here. Where did he run off to in the middle of the night, young master? H's plan is still the best. This time we'll help him settle this matter properly. Maybe young Master Hua will also help his brothers out a bit with pursuing Du Thuni, right? Stop being obsessed with girls, hurry up and leave after hiding the stuff. If that kid comes back, this play won't work. Hearing their voices, Wutong vaguely recognized them as young Master Hua in his memories. Huadin, the son of the Hua family, clan leader, a well-known figure in Wutong Dien. After both of them stepped outside, they hurriedly left, unaware that Wutong had observed everything. Last time Kaothan and Hua Tuhai came to the Tan family to discuss the ranking competition. It seems this Huadin was also involved. Saying this, he opened his room door with a sinister look. Huadin, you like to play dirty. Right then, I'll play dirty with you. In the silent night, suddenly a woman's loud scream rang out. Thief! Thief! Following that were other shouts from the female dormitory where, my bra, my panties are gone, damn it. Where my waist wrap. Over here, the young boys began banging gongs and shouting with others, catch the thief! A thief ran over here from the female dormitory. Catch the thief, get up, and catch the thief. Damn it, which pervert did this? Isn't this too embarrassing? What do you know, this is called admiration. Understand. Huadin stood on the side, stroking his chin deliberately, and said loudly, Lich Fi, you saw which way he ran first, right? Yes, young Master Hua. I was about to search the room when suddenly a figure jumped down from the wall, scaring me to death. So what did that thief look like? Did you see him? It was too dark. I didn't see clearly, but I saw him running towards this corridor of the dormitory. This corridor is all male student dormitories. This thief is very likely an inside job that makes a lot of sense. It is hard to guard against a thief within your own walls. If we were talking about thieves, I think that is very likely. If it is an inside job, then it is easy to handle. Call all the male students here and search each room one by one. Just now, the situation was urgent, so that thief probably hasn't gone far. Even if he stole something, he couldn't have hidden it anywhere. Young Master Truong's idea is excellent. I suggest we first check the rooms where people haven't come out yet, and the dormitory doors are still closed because these rooms are highly suspicious. All right, let us decide on that. After discussing, Huadin raised his head and said loudly, Ladies, please wait a moment. We on the male student side will immediately conduct a self-investigation. Once there is any movement, we will immediately report it. As soon as he finished speaking, a girl named Van Kin Yen, one of the three major prominent families, appeared and said, No need to wait. This young lady wants to investigate personally to prevent you from covering up for each other. Seeing this, Huadin pretended to be surprised. Young Miss Van, Did you also lose something? Huadin donned to get so close, hurry up and investigate. Hearing this, he didn't ask any further questions and extended his hand forward to invite young Miss Van. Hien took the lead and walked forward with an angry expression, thinking to herself, they even dare to steal my underwear. They must be tired of living. At this moment, she and the group of people behind her arrived in front of the first room. Without much thought, Hien decisively swung her leg and kicked the door open. Truong Hien followed closely behind and said reassuringly, "Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Young Miss Van is catching a thief. This is not your business. Just do what you need to do." After checking, the group turned around and left their voices echoing back. Sorry for the trouble. Following that were loud crashing sounds no one here. One room after another making the male dormitory chaotic and noisy. When it was the male protagonist's room, Hien, as usual, swung her leg to kick the door, but it was locked tight, surprising her. Then she turned to look at the people behind her, wondering who lives in this room. It seems to be that Tan family kid from Dong Lam Tran. What this young lady will personally investigate, this kid actually dares to lock the door. Truong Hien then knocked hard on the door and shouted loudly, "Tan family brat, you're in big trouble. Young Miss Van has personally arrived, yet you've locked the door and want to open it. Do you have a guilty conscience?" Seeing that there was still no movement, Hien began to step back a few steps, taking a stance. "If you don't open it, then don't blame this young lady for being ruthless." Just as her foot swung out at the same time, Wutong opened the door. He then raised his hand to look at the crowd, rubbed his eyes, and asked suspiciously, "What are you guys doing in the middle of the night? We knocked on the door for a long time, didn't you hear? Please, what's with the knocking at this hour? I was even dreaming of getting married, such a beautiful thing, and you guys ruined it all." Truong Hien, standing beside him, began pointing at the male protagonist's face and said loudly, "You surnamed Tan. Stop pretending the female students lost something, and the thief is very likely among us male students. If you don't have a guilty conscience, then cooperate with young Miss Van and let her search." Hearing this, Wutong crossed his arms and leaned against the wall behind him, replying, "Search the room based on what? Tan Wutong don't take an inch and want a mile. If you don't let us search your room, it proves you did something bad." Saying this, if you guys don't have a guilty conscience, why don't you let young Miss Van search your rooms? First, searching isn't impossible, but how do I know if you were targeting me? If you want to search, then all the male students must be searched. You really talk nonsense. After searching here, we will naturally go to other places to search. Do we need you to teach us? But that one to do. What if they play tricks after they redone? Who can I reason with? Huadin, standing beside him, couldn't hold back any longer and began to speak. Tan Wutong, who exactly are you trying to drag down with you? Huadin, aren't you a disciple of a prominent family? Why don't you set an example first? Hearing this, he placed his hand on his chest and said loudly, "If young Miss Van wants to search my room, Hua Mo will not say a word. My place can also be searched at any time. I can too. Hearing this, Hien turned to look at the male protagonist and continued, "Everyone's attitude is clear. Tan Wutong, if you still don't move aside, don't blame this young lady for being impolite." Wutong on this side glanced at Huadin and replied, "As for me, Tanmo, I can let you search my room once, but remember this isn't out of respect for you. It's just to see who will be the real laughingstock in the end." At this moment, Hien began to step into the room, looking around. When she stood in front of his wardrobe, Wutong panicked and hurriedly exclaimed, Not there." Hearing him say this, the others all clamored, open it, there must be something there." Hien, standing inside, glared at the male protagonist, then turned back and opened the wardrobe door. As soon as the wardrobe door was opened, dozens of smelly socks fell out and landed on her head. Both Huadin and Lich Fai were the most surprised among the people standing there. Hien, standing on this side, was furious, clutching the smelly socks in her hand and shouting loudly, "Tan Wutong, are you doing this on purpose, throwing socks around like this?" Wutong looked at her with a smug expression, covering his mouth, and snickering, replying, "You already searched my room. You can let the others go." Hien was helpless and frustrated, her head practically smoking, talking nonsense, just follow me. "All right, young Miss Van." A moment later, Hien and a group of men behind her began to move to the remaining rooms. When they arrived in front of a room, she looked up at the name of the person inside, breaking out in a cold sweat, thinking to herself, the person in this room isn't just anyone. Not only Hien, but the others also had the same thought. It was young master Huadin of the powerful He family, a top authority in Lajiang district capital. Seeing Hien turn around and leave Wutong behind, her crossed his arms and smiled smugly. Then his face turned somber and he pointed at the nameplate saying, "Young Miss Van, this room hasn't been searched yet. Why did you pass it? Could it be that our young Miss Van only dares to bully the weak? And also, young Master Hua and young Master Truong, weren't you just very loud and clear? Why are you so scared now?" At this moment, Truong Hien walked over and whispered fiercely, "Tan Wutong, I think you're asking for trouble." Wutong didn't bother to argue further, leisurely walking straight ahead, laughing loudly. "Ha, a bunch of cowards afraid of young master. He doesn't even live in the dormitory. Look at your tense faces." After walking a bit further, he stood in front of a room door, bent down and sniffed a few times. "Whose room is this? It smells a bit fragrant. Could it be a hidden beauty?" Huadin, standing on the side, affirmed, "This room is mine. I am an upright person. You are spouting nonsense and slandering me. Be careful. I'll accuse you of defaming a high-ranking noble. Whether you're upright or not, we'll only know after checking. Could it be that you want to allow a search, young Miss Van? It seems someone has a guilty conscience." Hearing this, his face darkened, frowning angrily. "Tan Wutong, you were speaking in riddles. What exactly do you want to do?" Wutong didn't bother to reply, but turned his head to look at Hien and smiled. "Young Miss Van, you are all disciples of prominent families. Even if you don't search them out of consideration for their status, they can do anything to you." Huadin beside her also looked at her, placed his hand on his chest and affirmed, "Young Miss Van, if you want to search, just go ahead. I Huadin have done nothing wrong. Don't crow too early, wait until the search is over and nothing is found. Then it won't be too late to talk." Without another word, Hien decisively pushed the door open and stepped inside. "Search. If you want to search, what's so private about it still as usual." Saying this, she stepped towards the wardrobe in the room. Standing in front of the wardrobe door, Hien looked at it curiously without blinking. Just as she opened the wardrobe door, a pile of missing underwear from the female dormitory fell out from inside. Everyone there was astonished at this sight, their mouths agape, unable to believe their eyes. The most astonished person was still Huadin, standing on the side, who was stunned for a moment, speechless. Hien on this side darkened her face and looked at a pair of pink panties. "With a bear pattern, furious my underwear." In a tense atmosphere, Wutong outside turned and left his voice echoing back. "Beasts, truly beasts." After speaking, he had a smug look on his face, his eyes half closed as he thought to himself, "You reap what you sow, Huadin." Inside the room at this moment, Hien was raging, clenching her fists and raising them, shouting loudly, "Huadin!" Seeing this, he panicked and hurriedly denied, No, I didn't do it." Before he could finish explaining, Hien had already pounced on him, beating him black and blue with loud crashing sounds coming from inside the male dormitory. The news of Huadin stealing female students' underwear immediately spread everywhere, shocking the higher-ups of Wutong. They were also in a difficult situation. They had to appease the anger of the female students while also taking care of Huadin and maintaining the image of Wutong. The next day, the man Bat Dick went to find him to talk young Master Hua. "This failure is likely due to someone playing tricks behind your back. Stay low for the time being, who would dare to go against the Hua family, a prominent clan." Then he led him in front of the female students and said, "Through our investigation when the incident happened, Huadin and several other martial arts students were discussing cultivation matters together. This was definitely not done by Huadin. That's right, young Master Hua was with us the whole time. It couldn't possibly be him. Young Master Hua is a disciple of a prominent family. How could he do such a thing? Young Master Hua is definitely not that kind of person. He must have been framed by a lower-class noble. Clearly, our young Master Hua likes underwear with elephant patterns. Young Master Hua absolutely couldn't have stolen panties with bear patterns." Hearing those words, his face darkened with anger, and he gritted his teeth, thinking to himself, "Tan Wutong, I will definitely not let you off." Wutong on this side was standing nearby, observing the situation. Noble status is indeed good, so you can escape punishment if it had been the previous Tan Wutong. If this had succeeded, the consequences would have been unimaginable. In this world, if you are not strong enough and don't have a powerful family background to back you up, you probably live with less dignity than dogs or pigs. This is a world with strict hierarchies and clear barriers. whether it is people or objects. There is a strict division of levels. Moreover, this world extremely worships martial power. It seems that the entire populace knows martial arts, and all power must be fought for through martial force. Strength corresponds to different levels of needs, and different levels are also marked differently. Different levels have different treatments to enjoy more rights. One can only use martial force to raise their own level. The Tan family's current stage is on the border of nobility and could collapse at any time. Under the situation of constant harassment at Wutong Dien Tan Vo Song, both struggled and diligently cultivated unknowingly training from early spring to early summer. He was still sitting cross-legged in his dormitory room, cultivating the 9th-level breakthrough of the martial force realm. Finally, I've reached the first level of the true martial realm. I have internal force, now the classic supreme internal cultivation techniques from my previous life, finally have a use. Immediately after Wusong was brought into a space to choose a cultivation technique, there were too many techniques to choose from. This one is the mysterious scripture extremely yin and soft. I should still practice a more rigid technique. Next was the marrow washing scripture of marrow washing and body purification. After that was the Daoist classic, the formless true art. There was also the Northern Darkness art record, which could absorb other people's internal force and convert it into one's own. And the Duongchan scripture, the cultivation technique of his previous life. It is still better to chew what I've already tasted. Let us start with the familiar elementary technique from my previous life. After choosing his cultivation technique, the male protagonist began to sit down and cultivate, chanting the incantation, "The stronger the enemy, the stronger I become," especially when charging with Duongchan. Chi duong, water and fire cannot penetrate, only my Yama King's blade can withstand any weapon. This was the summary of the Ka Duong scripture describing the realm after it was completed. Cultivating the Duongchan scripture to the 2nd level is enough to deal with any 2nd-level true martial realm expert in this world. As he was engrossed in looking at the flow of true energy in his hand, someone knocked on the door from outside and called out loudly, "Brother Wusong." As Wusong opened the door, the young boy with a flustered expression hurriedly said, "Brother Wusong, something bad has happened. Brother Tu Tin has been captured by them." Who I remember this person. Thuong Tu. Truong, a relative of Ho. Tu Tin. It. Truong. Hien. Hearing this, Wusong was furious, his brow furrowed, his face darkening. "Truong Hien, it is you again? Old grudges and new debts, today I will settle them all with you." After thinking this, Wusong hurriedly closed the door and rushed forward, asking anxiously, "Where did they take Tungon lead me there at the bamboo forest?" At this moment inside the bamboo forest, the young boy Tungon was hanging by his chest from a bamboo tree with a rope. The people around him were discussing animatedly, "Do you think Tan Wusong dares to come last time? Tan Wusong was beaten like a dog this time. He definitely won dare to come." Truong Hien on this side stepped forward, grabbed a handful of the young boy's hair, and pulled it down. "Ho Tungon Don. Blame us if you want to blame someone. Blame your good friend and fellow townsman, Tan Wusong, for being ungrateful trash." Hearing this, he had a smug look on his face and raised his fist. "Let us see how long your mouth can stay tough." Just as he was about to swing his fist at Tungon, a voice rang out, "Stop!" From afar, Wusong and Tu Truong walked step by step, causing the surrounding people to step aside. Oh, he really came, isn't it? He afraid of getting beaten, this kid who didn't die last time. What do you know? Maybe his kung fu is the kind where he gets stronger after being hit. That makes sense. LOL, could it be the legendary enduring blow divine art? He gets a cultivation boost after getting injured a little. Hey, you guys are talking nonsense. I bet 2 taels of silver that Tan Wusong came to die this time. Truong Hien and his gang have been plotting for so long, they've just been waiting for this opportunity. This Ho Tungyon is really unlucky, becoming a sacrificial lamb. Truong Hien, standing on this side, smiled smugly and looked at the male protagonist, young Master Hua. This little brat actually dared to come. You want me, let him go since you dared to come. We definitely won to make things difficult for him anymore. As soon as he finished speaking, Huadin swung his hand and cut the rope that was tying Tungon. Tu Truong stepped forward to support the young boy, anxiously asking, "Brother Tungon, are you all right?" Fine." Wusong stood in front, turned back to look at both of them and said, "You guys go first, they retargeting me." Hearing this, Toongon's face was resolute as he protested, I am not leaving. I have to show them that the martial artists of our Dong Lam Tran are also capable people, not just weak scholars. The two martial arts students from Dong Lam Tran, standing on the side, pretended not to know what was going on, awkwardly looking in different directions. Truong Hien, standing opposite, looked at the male protagonist with a smug expression and said loudly, You surnamed Tan. You didn't die last time. Are your bones itchy again? Come on, young master, we'll let you remember a bit. Hearing him say this, Wutong asked suspiciously, Truong Hien, do you mean you want to settle old scores after speaking? He was secretly pleased in this Wutong Dien for so long. This stupid fool finally came to my door himself. The people around them also shouted and urged fight. Another round. Truong Hien, teach him a lesson. This time, beat him to death. Wutong looked at Truong Hien's sinister and smug face, thinking to himself, last time he failed, he kept quiet for several months, always wanting to vent this anger for young Master Hua. This time, the opportunity finally came. I also want to try out my new techniques. Truong Hien then turned to look at Huadin, clasped his hands, and said, Young Master Hua, please be our witness. How about it? If you want a one-on-one fight to settle your grudges once and for all, then I'll be the referee this time. Wutong stood in front of him, crossed his arms, and said with a smug look, Young Master Hua being the referee according to your follower's wishes, isn't this kind of thing fun? Hearing this, he darkened his face and turned to look at the male protagonist, without saying anything, thinking to himself, if the academy hadn't suppressed us and prevented us from causing trouble, could you have lived until today? Brat, today, I will definitely take your life. At this moment inside the academy, a young boy ran around everywhere announcing, Have you heard Tan Wutong and Truong Hien are dueling in the bamboo forest? Another duel last time. He was beaten half to death and he still dares to fight this Tan Wutong really doesn't know the meaning of fear. Saying this, everyone inside the academy flocked to go and watch. At this moment inside the bamboo forest, Huadin stood between the two, raising his hand to the sky. A fair duel, life and death are determined by fate. Saying this, he swung his hand down and shouted, Duel begin. As soon as the signal was given, the onlookers raised their hands and cheered, Truong Hien, beat him to death. Toongon and Truong stood nearby, their faces a little worried, breaking out in cold sweat, whispering, Wutong. Truong Hien on this side looked at the male protagonist smugly and threatened Tan Wutong, You won to be so lucky. This time, you definitely dead. Wutong stood opposite him, not worried at all, and replied calmly, Then you can try. Provoked, Truong Hien rushed forward quickly, pretending to be calm. Come on, block my palm strike. When he had rushed close but still didn't see any reaction from Wutong, he smiled smugly to himself. He's so scared by my shout that he can't move. He'll watch me beat you into a pig's head. Just as his fist swung out, Wutong finally began to dodge lightly. The smug look on Truong Hien's face turned to surprise as he turned to look at him. He didn't get hit. Following that were dozens of punches, along with a repeated phrase, again. When he saw that none of his punches were landing, his expression turned to astonishment as he wondered, impossible, how is this guy's speed so fast? The male protagonist in front of him remained calm, effortlessly dodging the punches, thinking to himself, In my previous life, Tan Wutong had patience but very slow movements. This time, I've especially trained that. When he realized he couldn't even touch a hair on Wutong's head, Truong Hien began to stop and step back. Tan Wutong, all you know how to do is dodge. The onlookers nearby also chimed in, that's right, what's the point of just dodging back and forth? Tan Wutong is too cowardly, he doesn't even dare to fight head-on. If you re scared, then surrender quickly, stop putting on a show. Wutong replied arrogantly to the taunts, that's because he's too slow, what can I do? Truong Hien, standing on this side, hearing this, became furious. A surge of true energy surrounded his body. Keep pretending. Let us see how long you can last. Try my new move, my father just taught it to me. The onlookers, seeing his surge of true energy, all exclaimed in astonishment, Truong Hien's aura. I think with this momentum, Truong Hien is at least at the third level of the martial force realm, as expected of someone who hangs out with young Master Hua. If this move hits, Tan Wutong is definitely dead. Truong Hien, at this moment, had channeled his true energy into his fist and shouted wind-breaking fist. As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed forward and swung with all his might, punching at Wutong, who was standing still and didn't even bother to dodge. The powerful blow created a large explosion, shaking the entire forest area. Seeing this, Truong Hien smiled smugly and laughed. Ha ha! This time there's no way to dodge. The onlookers who witnessed this scene all exclaimed in excitement. He hit him. He hit him this time, there is no saving him. Both Toongon and Truong, standing nearby, seeing this, anxiously called out Wutong. Huadin, seeing this, smiled contentedly to himself. Who told you to go against me? But things didn't end there. Truong Hien on this side was shocked when he heard a heavy breathing sound from within the thick smoke in front of him. At this moment, the smoke in front of him gradually dissipated, revealing the male protagonist's bloodshot eye staring intently at him. When the smoke had completely cleared, Wutong's entire body was revealed, standing in front of him, completely unfazed. Both Truong Hien and Huadin, witnessing this scene, were so shocked that they were speechless, frozen in place for 5 seconds. Everyone present was equally astonished, stammering loudly, No way, he is all right. Moreover, he didn't even move a bit. I am already at the first level of the true martial realm. Now how could a mere third-level martial force realm martial artist possibly hurt me? After thinking this, Wutong swung his hand up, looked at him and said loudly, Truong Hien, it is you who insisted on courting death. As soon as he finished speaking, without giving him time to react, Wutong immediately swung his hand and punched him straight in the face. The male protagonist's punch had 100 times the power of Truong Hien's previous blow, sending him flying far away, smashing hard into a rock and shattering it. Having taken his blow, head on Truong Hien's teeth and lips were mixed together. His head was spinning, and he died on the spot. The young boys who witnessed this scene were shocked, breaking out in cold sweat, their mouths agape, their eyes almost popping out. Truong Hien is down a single move. The Tan family's life-stealing technique actually defeated a prestigious clan disciple. Wutong's entire body at this moment was radiating a powerful surge of true energy, confirming that he was the strongest in the academy. Huadin, standing nearby, seeing this scene, panicked, his face darkening. No way, in just a short few months. How could Tan Wutong have improved so quickly? The two Truong and Toongon ran over and looked at Wutong with admiration, praising brother Wutong. Your move was too powerful, that Right one move took him down. What that move called another day. I'll teach you too. Let go. Saying this, he remembered something and turned his head back, smiling at Huadin. Oh right. I also have to thank young Master Hua for being our referee. Hearing Wutong say this made him angry. His face darkened as he gritted his teeth. Tan Wutong. Then he ordered the 2 men behind him to report to the academy head and report to the authorities that Tan Wutong killed the Truong family disciple in a personal duel. Switching scenes to outside the Tan family gate at this moment, Lian's son's voice echoed from inside, along with scattered fruit packages. Get out, all of you. Seeing this, Tuni approached and asked suspiciously, Father, what is going on? Who came just now? It was the Ngu family from the pharmacy, relying on their flattery of the prominent Hua family. They actually dared to send people here to propose marriage. Tuni don't worry. Father will definitely not let you marry that kind of person. Hearing this, Tuni affirmed in reply, Father, I am not afraid as long as I have you and Wutong, that's enough. Hearing about the male protagonist, Lian's son looked worried and wondered, I wonder how Wutong is doing at Wudong. A moment later, inside Wutong's room, his 2 brothers rushed in anxiously and said, Brother Wutong, hurry up and run back to Donglam Tran. I can to run. This was a fair duel. Everyone saw it. If I run, I'll be falsely accused of a personal grudge duel, and that would be even more troublesome. It is all right. I also want to see what they can do to me. On the contrary, you 2 should stay away from me for now to avoid getting involved. No matter what you say, you saved me. Now we re in the same boat. I am not going anywhere. We re fellow townsmen and good friends. We'll share the hardship together. Seeing that the 2 were so determined, Wutong smiled. All right then, just stay here. Kim Bat Ditch is about to appear anyway. At this moment, from outside, just as he said, the man, Bat Ditch, and a group of people followed behind, saying loudly, Tan Wutong, I warned you not to cause trouble now. You've provoked a classmate to a personal duel and even killed someone. The evidence is clear. Men arrest him. Hearing this, Wutong smiled and replied, a personal duel. Great Academy. Head, you wouldn't take everyone for blind, would you? This fair duel had everyone as witnesses and even young Master Hua as the referee. Huadin, standing on this side, immediately denied Academy Head. There was no duel at all. This Wutong held a grudge against Truong Hien and wanted to kill him for revenge. If you don't believe me, please ask everyone present. After speaking, he cast a sharp gaze around at the others, thinking to himself, let me see if anyone dares to stand against my Hua family, a prominent clan. The people there were all flustered, turning their faces away and making excuses. I arrived late and didn't see anything. I am deaf. I didn't hear anything, didn't see anything, didn't see anything. Seeing this, the old man Batditch looked extremely smug and turned to look at the male protagonist, Wutong. Did you hear clearly? No one can testify for you. At this moment, Truong and Tungon stepped forward and affirmed, Great Academy. Head, I can testify. Their duel was very fair. I can also testify. You three are all people from Donglam Tran who knows if you recovering for each other, your testimonies are invalid. While the two sides were arguing, a voice rang out from afar. Where is the murderer who killed my son? The voice came from Truong Mao, the clan leader of the prestigious Truong family, and the person following behind was Truong Dieu, his eldest son, who shouted loudly, You brat, get out here for me. This young master wants to duel you to avenge my younger brother. Seeing this, the man Batdich walked over, breaking out in a cold sweat, and said softly, Clan Eater Truong Yuvi arrived, Academy Head. Kim, why hasn't he been arrested yet? Huadin, standing behind him, interjected. Great Academy. Head, the evidence is complete. Give the order to arrest him. Wutong. No one can testify that you fought fairly. Arrest him. Seeing this, Wutong didn't panic at all and replied, All right. So in the entire Lajang district capital, there isn't even one martial arts student who dares to tell the truth. Wutong. I've truly broadened my horizons. Hearing this, Batdich frowned angrily, his eyes bloodshot, and ordered enough talk. Arrest him. As a group of people approached, just about to arrest the male protagonist. A young boy appeared from inside a nearby room and said, Wait. Everyone hearing this turned to look at the young boy, surprised and stammering, He Duong. He Duong turned his gaze towards Huadin and continued. Huadin, is this how a referee like you acts? The surrounding people began to discuss animatedly, Dahi Duong, why did he come? This is getting interesting. Someone from the Dahi family is standing up. That ES, right? Listening to his tone, he seems very dissatisfied with Huadin. Batdich on this side hurriedly ran over to He Duong and said softly, fawningly, Young Master Da. Do you have something to say? I am afraid someone will scold our Lajiang city for not having anyone. Academy Head. Kim. I can testify that Wutong and Truong Hien's duel was fair with Huadin as the referee. I can testify to this anywhere, if anyone objects. They can step forward and confront me. Young Master Dahi, this was really seen by your own eyes. That's right, young Master Dahi. This concerns the life and death of my son. I hope you will definitely speak the truth. He Dong turned his head and glanced at the two, replying, Have you ever seen anyone from my Dahi family lie or cheat? Both Tungon hearing this also added, Great Academy. Head, did you hear that young Master Dahi has also spoken? They fought very fairly. Right, this was indeed a fair competition. The old man turned back and pointed at Wutong, shouting the specifics of this matter still need to be thoroughly investigated, but Wutong has committed another crime, even if it was a fair fight. He has damaged the unity of Wudong Dian. This Academy Head has already warned you. The male protagonist, after hearing this, looked at the old man with a nonchalant expression and said directly, You want to expel me from here, right? Hearing this, the old man's face flushed with anger, veins popping out on his forehead. Do you think this Academy Head doesn't have this authority? Then do you think I like staying in this dilapidated place? Not at all. I've been here for a few months, just to wait for an opportunity, waiting for that idiot Truong Hien to come to my door and offer his life. Batdich at this moment frowned fiercely, unable to speak, staring intently at him. Wutong then turned and left with his two martial arts brothers. This young master isn't staying at this Wudong Dian anymore. We were not staying either, not staying. The old man watched Wutong's back as he left and said loudly, Let me see how you'll pass the Wutong Dian assessment in 3 years. He smiled on this side, turned his head back and replied, Great, Academy. Head. Kim, you yourself said it. The Wutong Dian assessment is presided over by the true martial Holy Land, and you are just a dog of the noble clans. What qualifications do you have to play tricks in the Wutong Dian assessment? Seeing that every word the male protagonist said was like a sharp blade, he was speechless, gritting his teeth, unable to do anything. At this moment, Truong Mao couldn't hold back his anger any longer and hurriedly stepped forward. Tan Vosong, you killed my son and want to leave so easily. A fair duel, life and death determined by Fate clan leader Truong. Surely you don't want to kill me in front of everyone. Do you, the Truong family, a prestigious clan? Truong Mao has the strength of the 2nd level of the true martial realm. Although I can defeat you now, you wouldn't dare to openly violate the laws of Bach Viet Nation, would you? While he was thinking, Huadin came from behind again, threatening Tan Vosong. Just be smug. Let me see how long your Han clan Tan family can remain smug. Could today's events have happened because someone has designs on my Tan family's inheritance? Saying this, Vosong's eyes lit up, and he turned back to look at the group behind him. Small Earth, we'll meet again in 3 years. Tan Vosong, I will definitely make you pay, clan leader. Truong, please be cautious. I am afraid the Tan family has already curried favor with the Dahi family. There are still less than 3 years until the family ranking competition. By then, the Tan family will definitely be ruined. The next morning at the Dahi family estate, this old man was Dahi Hung, the head of the Dahi family. After hearing Duong recount everything, he crossed his arms with a contemplative expression. This Tan Vosong is not simple. Tan Vosong of the Han clan, huh? Interesting, enduring for so long. Just for such an explosive counterattack, those forces aiming for the Tan family are indeed in trouble. What trouble? It's just a small obstacle in Wutong Dian it won to affect the overall situation. If you hadn't come forward to take charge, they naturally wouldn't need to make things difficult. Once you came forward, the situation changed. Now the Hua family and the others will probably be suspicious, thinking that our Dahi family and the Tan family have some connection. Should we clarify things? No need, we don't need to show our attitude to nobles like the Truong family. This Tan Vosong has both cunning and courage, just consider it making a good connection with the Tan family. Yes, father. Any news about Big Brother recently? Your Big Brother. He can't accept that matter for the time being. Don't worry about him. Your big brother is mature. He'll figure things out sooner or later. Hearing this, Duong looked thoughtful and gazed into the distance, murmuring, Big Brother. Switching scenes to the male protagonist and his 2 brothers sitting in a carriage leaving the city, Truong looked at the leisurely reclining and leg-crossing male protagonist and asked suspiciously, Brother Vosong, can we get home safely? Will they ambush us on the way? He lay on his side, raised his hand, and affirmed in reply, No, don't worry, Tan Vosong. Why are you so sure? Vosong smiled, opened his eyes, looked at the 2, and said confidently, 4 words. Dahi family. The news of Tan Vosong defeating a disciple of a prestigious clan and quitting the academy has long since reached Donglam Tran. At this moment, from inside the Tan family house, Lin San's voice echoed, Tuni Vosong should be arriving soon. Let us go. Welcome him. Yes, this time Vosong successfully avenged Truong Hien and fought for the family. As the 2 stepped outside, they immediately encountered 2 people walking towards them who hurriedly said, Oh, young Miss Tuni, did you know we were returning and came out, especially to welcome us? The old shopkeeper Ngu of the medicinal herb store smiled and looked towards Tuni, telling his son, Tu Fan, go talk to young Miss Tuni. Ngu Fan. The eldest son hurriedly replied, Understood. While he was smiling obsequiously and approaching step by step, Lian's son stepped forward to block him. What brings the 2 of you here? Clan leader Tan, you don't need to be so tense today. My son and I are here to propose marriage and secondly, to discuss a cooperation between our 2 families. Hearing this, Lin's son looked puzzled and asked suspiciously, cooperation. At this moment, a familiar voice came from behind, also asking what cooperation. The father and son hearing this turned back joyfully and said in unison, Vosong, older sister, father. Young Master Tan has returned. I heard you defeated a disciple of a prestigious clan. Congratulations on the surface. He said this, but in his heart the old man thought that the male protagonist must have played some tricks. Vo Song on this side turned to look at the old Ngu and replied, "Shopkeeper Ngu, you relate old Master Hua of the prominent family has long since spoken harshly, not only wanting to compete for our position, but also wanting to ruin our Tan family." Oh, is that? So I know old Master Hua, as long as clan leader Tan obediently hands over the position, and our two families form an alliance through marriage, Ngu Mo will definitely ensure your family's safety. Hearing this, an unpleasant expression appeared on Vo Song's face as he replied, "Shopkeeper Ngu, go back where you came from. We'll wait for the Hua family to display their great power." Seeing that he couldn't argue with the male protagonist, the old man angrily turned to look at Lian's son and questioned clan leader Tan, "Is your son in charge of your Tan family now?" He didn't hesitate and immediately affirmed that right. "His words are my words, shopkeeper. Ngu, please leave." Hearing this, Ngu Fan angrily clenched his fists and said loudly, "You brat, if you don't marry your older sister to me today, don't even think about me reconsidering, even if you beg me later." As Vosong walked into the house, he glanced sideways at him and retorted, "Young Master Ngu, our family might consider marrying my older sister to you too." As soon as he finished speaking, he stepped inside and slammed the door shut, intimidating the two of them. Old Ngu, seeing himself and his son humiliated like this, couldn't swallow his anger, frowning and gritting his teeth. Indeed, a family that doesn't know what's good for them, let us see how you die later. A moment later, Vosong sat at the table, recounting everything to his older sister and father, who praised him. "You fought very well this time, that is my son." Being praised by Lian's son surprised Vosong a little. "I was still worried that father would blame me. A Han clan defeating a prestigious clan in a duel is already taking the weak against the strong. How could I blame you? But Truong Hien's death is just the beginning. Even more cruel things are still to come." Saying this, Lian's son's complexion looked a little tired. That's right. Those martial arts prominent families won to let this go easily. Cough, cough, before he could finish speaking. Lian. Son coughed a few times, spitting out blood, causing both Vosong and Tuni to exclaim in alarm, "Father!" At this moment, Vosong's hand rested on Lian's son's shoulder, sensing everything inside. This is chaotic true energy caused by excessive cultivation. Father's talent isn't high. Now worrying anxiously and hastily, he might accidentally suffer a backlash of true energy like I did in my previous life. Lian's son, after wiping the blood from his mouth, raised his hand to reassure them, "It is nothing, just a minor illness already coughing up blood, and you still say it. It's a minor illness. I'll go find a doctor." Hearing this, Vosong immediately stopped him. "No need to invite a doctor, I have a way." Tuni and Lian's son then turned to look at him with surprised expressions and asked, "You really have a way?" A moment later, Vosong had used acupuncture and acupressure on Lian's son, clearing his meridians. "Father, how do you feel?" "Indeed, my meridians are flowing much better, father. This is caused by excessive cultivation. Your true energy didn't circulate properly in time, leading to chaotic true energy and a backlash in your meridians. I used silver needles to guide your chaotic true energy out." "Good son. Where did you learn this technique at Wudong for so many years? If I didn't learn anything else, I did pick up quite a bit of medical knowledge." Hearing this, Lian's son remained silent and didn't ask any further. Vosong then looked at the needles on his father's body, thinking to himself, "Silver needles guiding true energy can only treat the symptoms, not the root cause. If he continues to cultivate like this, the situation will only worsen. Only by cultivating the marrow washing classic of the Tu Lam sect from my previous life, cleansing his tendons and bones and starting over, can he completely change his constitution." After thinking this, he took out a book from his bag and said, "Father, when I was at Wudong, I once took a book from the library. I couldn't understand it. Can you take a look?" When Lian's son opened the book and read it, he was shocked and exclaimed, "Vosong, did you really get this from Wudong?" "Yes. Anyway, that foolish Kim Bat Ditch didn't he understand it. I thought the writing on it looked like a very powerful cultivation technique, so I conveniently took it. I wonder if father can believe this reason." Lian's son, hearing him say this, was half believing and half doubting. Wudong has a history of several hundred years. It is not strange that predecessors left behind such a martial arts manual. If Kim Bat Dish wasn't so stupid, Wudong wouldn't have become like this. Seeing that his father believed him, Vosong felt relieved and asked, "What is recorded in this list, father?" "This records an extremely profound martial arts treasure. and this kind of martial arts manual is exactly what our Tan family lacks. It says break and then establish cleanse tendons and bones. Change constitution isn't that too dangerous. Wutong, all experts on the path of martial arts, cultivation who reach the peak must go through danger. Keep this martial arts manual carefully. It will definitely be useful in the future. Well, that essay matter for later. I can't use it yet. So father, why don't you try cultivating it first? Maybe it will even help your illness. All right, I'll examine it for you first. Then when you grow up to a certain level, I'll teach it back to you. Tuni, from now on, leave the matters of the house to you. I need to focus on cultivation with this martial arts manual. There is hope that I can advance to the second level of the true martial realm before the family ranking competition and retain our Han clan status. Wutong stood aside, smiling at Lien. Son, thinking to himself, once he obtains this marrow washing classic, not only can it completely cure father's illness, but it can also improve his meridians. Future cultivation will only become smoother in 3 years. Father has a complete chance to reach the 4th level of the true martial realm. Switching scenes to Truong Mok, standing before his son's coffin in a silent and sorrowful atmosphere. Tan Wutong, I will definitely make your entire Tan family pay for this grudge. Dahi, standing behind him, spoke to comfort him, clan leader Truong. I understand your feelings, but revenge must be taken slowly. After all, the one who plotted to seize the Han clan, Tan family's position was the Hua family. Now, it's all being blamed on my son. Our prominent family can't afford to offend them. This is all because of that Tan family. After thinking this, he clasped his hands and looked in another direction. Old Master Hua Tu Hai, please rest assured, Truong Mao understands. Saying this, he gritted his teeth, trying to suppress his anger. Han clan Tan family, I'll let you survive for another 3 years. Switching scenes to the next morning, Wutong was standing on a towering cliff, admiring the magnificent scenery before him. Then he closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Next, without any hesitation, he leaped from the towering cliff straight down below. After landing safely on the ground, Wutong's expression became excited. It's only been a few days since I returned home, and as expected, training in the mountains is much more convenient. As he was thinking, his 2 brothers ran over from afar, waving their hands and calling out in unison, Brother Wutong. Looking at the 2 boys' bruised and swollen faces, Wutong asked suspiciously, You 2 must have gotten quite a few beatings at home, huh? The 2, hearing this, scratched their heads and forced a smile, recalling the scene last night, where they were both beaten and scolded for quitting the academy without permission and hanging out with this Tan Wutong all day long. A moment later, Tungon looked at the male protagonist excitedly and asked suspiciously, Wutong, I heard older sister Tuni say that you come to Dai Thuong Mountain to cultivate every day. That says right. What are you 2 planning? We can only do basic training in the family. Our Han clan doesn't have too few martial arts manuals either. Hopefully our results in the Wutong Dian assessment won't to be so bad, lol. As for me, it goes without saying. Brother Wutong, how did you cultivate in just a few months? You've improved so quickly that you could even defeat Truong Hien. That's right. Can you teach us? Wutong looked at the 2 in front of him, thinking to himself, these 2 are just from a Han clan with weak strength. Yet in that situation, they dared to bravely quit the academy in this world. For someone with Tan Wutong's low status to make such friends is truly rare. After thinking, he raised a finger and looked at the 2. All right, I'll design a training plan for you 2. As long as you persevere, your results in the Wutong Dian assessment 3 years later will definitely not be bad. Remember, the key to cultivation is perseverance. The 2 boys standing in front of him, hearing this, looked extremely excited and enthusiastic. We understand. We will definitely persevere. In the next 3 months, Tan Wutong led the 2 of them to train basic exercises together. During push-ups, Truong couldn't hold on anymore and frothed at the mouth and fainted. Tungon managed to do 222, while Wutong was still going strong at 1113. Next was the horse stance. Truong was still the weakest of the 3, unable to maintain the posture any longer. After the grueling exercises, both boys were pale and vomiting repeatedly. Then they meditated together to calm their minds and cultivate in the fresh and open air. Following that was running around Dai Thuong Mountain, jumping over every boulder along the way. As the 2 gradually ran towards the top of the mountain, Tungon encouraged Truong, hang in there. We finally caught up with Vo Song today. When the two had run to the top of the mountain, they were panting heavily and hurriedly said, "Brother Vo Song, we finally didn't lose track of you today." Tungon was so tired that he had to put his hands on his knees and bend over, panting continuously. "Brother Vo Song, we're almost at your level now." Saying this, Tungon suddenly stopped when he saw the iron ring worn tightly on his ankle. Both boys at this moment were gaping in astonishment, unable to believe their eyes, exclaiming, "Brother Vo Song, you've been wearing iron rings to train the whole way." "That's right, starting tomorrow you two will too." The two, hearing this, were even more astonished, their eyes wide and speechless. While the three rested, Vo Song raised a finger and continued, "All right. Starting from now, I will teach each of you an attacking skill. A skill